Our methodology in branding is called minimal viable brand. We
I
blatantly
like that.
stolen the
I like that
name
a lot. That's
from minimal viable products.
yeah.
But with any product, it's like, or any brand, you have to go out into a world announcing something, right? Like you can't just say, hey, I'm just here learning about the world. And if you want to buy my product, you want to buy into what I do, sure, but I can't really tell you who I am. So that's perhaps the least effective way of launching any brand, launching any product. You have to be able to clarify kind of, well, why do you exist? Even if the why only resonates kind of with you have to be able to describe that to people. And then as you build that brand, as people come in and determine who you are and why you exist, you can then either absorb that. Well, firstly, you have to evaluate whether or not it's where you want to go, similar to the conversation that we have earlier, where you want to go, if this is really who you want to be, and evaluate whether or not this is part of my brand that I want to build. Because at the end of the day, kind of what branding does is help people define kind of their perception of you. If you don't control that, people are just going to create their own perceptions. Our perceptions is our reality. Like the way that I see a certain brand,
Wait,
more specifically, your perception is your reality.
I
How
see.
you perceive the world is what you believe is true.
Gotcha.
So, and this is kind of where branding and marketing kind of really tie in together is that you can be true to who you are and not tell anyone and let people make up their minds of who they think you are, then you're not really in control of your own authenticity and your own story. So there's this kind of marriage between branding and marketing where how do you actually socialize that? How does your brand show up in adversity? How does your brand show up in the greatest need? And I think right now in this time is one of the best examples where some brands step up in the pandemic and others kind of just fade away and like almost seem to be completely irrelevant in this time. So, going back to sort of the idea of in adversity, you find your values. I think that's absolutely true. But also at the same time, I think adversity, it's a great place to test and validate your values. And I think the authenticity of brands oftentimes come from leaders who are willing to put the necks out there and it's like, hey, this is what we believe in, and even if the world disagree with us, this is why we do what we do. We're going to stand up for, even if other people around us don't believe it, but because we do, we are going to do what we do. And we're going to get some noise. We're going to get people who would throw stones at us, but we're going to stay true to ourselves. This is kind of our minimal viable branding process. And oftentimes with the leaders that we work with, that's the greatest pain where we really define who I am. You can start to find elements of what you truly value. What were the decisions that you made, how did it make you feel? And if you were to do it again, will you do it differently? We can start to kind of parse out what are some of those values. And the things like it might be adrenaline that made you do whatever you do, and you might overthink it. And this is something that, as a strategist, I do all the time. I overthink things all the time. So that's where the discipline of, okay, let's take a step back and make sure that we have kind of people or within your team or in the larger world that has a non-biased perspective to give you genuine feedback of who you are those values really you, or you're trying to be someone who you are not?